right now. She knew it was like out of character, but I have green on today, right? Full attire.
That's the spirit.
There you go. I had 3 goals for our culturalization events that our staff attended. I wanted it to be informative, I wanted it to be inspiring, and I wanted it to be fun. And our brand ambassadors hit it out of the park, and it was all of that. Notice the baseball analogy.
That. Very good.
So I want to share with my brand ambassadors. With the rebranding comes a crystallization of our mission, our vision, and our promise, not just for Central Mass, but for the Commonwealth. Career Center colleagues across the state will once again rally together to get the job done as we assist our customers with getting to work. We have 2 dignitaries who have taken the time to participate in our process today. And first of all, I'm going to introduce our secretary. As Secretary of Labor and Workforce Development in Massachusetts, Secretary Acosta leverages her passion to make the world a better place for the next generation to ensure that workers, employers, and the unemployed have the tools and training needed to succeed in the Massachusetts economy. You've accomplished a lot, and we don't know the next time you'll get here. We want to let them know who you are, right? Prior to joining the Baker-Polito administration, Secretary Acosta spent over 30 years in the banking industry and is known for her ability to drive positive performance outcomes aligned with the company's mission. Involved in many civic and community endeavors, Secretary Acosta is a recognized leader, public speaker, and cultural ambassador on matters of diversity, motivating youth, and Latino leadership. The common strands that ran through her life and career are leadership, mentorship, passion, and success. Her work in her previous roles as board member of the Boston Foundation, board overseers at Boston's Children's Hospital, where she was a founding member of Milagros Paraninos, and corporate advisory board member for the Boston chapter of the Association of Latino Professionals for America, has touched the lives of many. In addition to her nonprofit work, Secretary Acosta was a director and planning member of the Merrimack Valley Workforce Investment Board and was appointed a Northern Essex Community College trustee by Governor Baker. Born in Cuba, she earned a Bachelor of Arts from Wesleyan University in Connecticut, where she was a member of the women's varsity ice hockey team.
The only part people care about.
She is the proud mother of 5 children. Join me in welcoming the Secretary.
So my apologies that you had to go through the long version of the bio. I usually like this. I like the short version. I worked for the administration and I played ice hockey. Those are the no. So I am so pleased to be here. I've had the honor of working with this team now for about a year. I joined the administration in July of 2017, my first public sector job. And it's been absolutely an amazing ride for these past several months. And since I arrived, we had this nascent thing that was brewing about this rebranding that was going to go on, that was going to happen. And I have to be very frank with you, as Jen has said, I came from the private sector, so I've only been in the public sector for a year. I've been a hiring manager for over 2 decades, and frankly never knew about the career centers. So much to my surprise, I come in. I mean, I knew we had one in Lawrence because that's where I was part of that region. But much to my surprise, I hear we don't just have one in Lawrence. I'm like, really? We have 29 of these all over the state. And oh, by the way, this Workforce Development Board that you're on right now, we have 15 others. You're not the only one in Merrimack Valley. I'm like, okay. So altogether, we had 45 different names in our Commonwealth. So I don't know about you, but I would get confused. I would never think that if you have 45 different names that you would be considered the same public workforce system, right? So, so the team was working very hard to make sure that we did something about that. We basically hired a consultant and had a lot of stakeholders involved here. We had education, we had our workforce workforce folks, we've had employers, job seekers, community-based organizations, state and local folks working together to make sure that before you identify a name, the name is the very last thing you do. And if anyone here has been through a marketing exercise, you know you've got to understand, what is the purpose? Why is it that you want to do this to begin with? What is the mission? And I'm standing here with this backdrop of the results of those conversations. All of these things happened before this happened. So the values piece, which is something that this Career Center, with Jeff's leadership and Janice's leadership, you live every single day. The values of collaboration, respect, reliability, and ingenuity. This is something that you do every single day. And this is something that many of our career centers practice every day. We just hadn't categorized it. We hadn't named it a thing. So after a lot of work, and after going through, I think, 16 different names and 16 different icons and tons of surveys, the winner was MassHire. So here we are today launching MassHire here for the Worcester region. And I'm so proud of the work that's being done here. And not unlike the history of our state, we're one of the first. Massachusetts has a lot of first in its long storied history. But not unlike that history, we're among one of the first in the country to rebrand and unify our career centers. So what does that mean? That means that we need to make sure that in this economy, where we're hearing every day, and I'm sure that you're hearing, and if you're an employer, I know I'm speaking to your pain, it's a very tight labor market. We have 3.5% unemployment, actually 3.6% unemployment. So it's very difficult to find skilled workers today. So what are we doing to help you? The awareness factor, unfortunately, I was not unlike, coming from the private sector, I wasn't unlike a lot of employers when we surveyed employers to find out, do you know about your career centers? Do you know about this rich, valuable public workforce system that we have throughout the state? Only 6% of employers knew that we existed. So ladies and gentlemen, we have 225,000 employers in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And only 6% of those, about 13,500 employers, knew that we existed. So we need to do a better job. We need to do a better job for our employers and also for our job seekers, because folks that walk through this door deserve to have an array of the best jobs available in the Commonwealth. And they deserve also to have that relationship that you all build so well with employers, because it's a lot easier to have a relationship with an employer and guide a job seeker to that employer versus just submitting a resume through a monster.com or email. You know, it doesn't work that way. And the credibility that this region has built and this career center has built with the employers that they're working with is invaluable to every single person that walks through that door. But we always look to be better, and we always look to do more. So this is just step one of a multi-step process to make sure that we're modernizing our career centers, that we're modernizing the way that we deliver workforce services to a 21st century workforce. Because right now, I think we need to do a lot more work with technology, a lot more work with better matching, and those are things that our office will be working on over the coming months. We need to make sure that you have the tools that you need in all our career centers to succeed and meet the needs of those that come through the door. And it's not just coming through the door, right? We need to really move much more quickly towards a platform that reaches job seekers where they are, that reaches employers where they are. It's not just about a brick and mortar model, right? We need to do more of a brick and click model, right? We need to have more technology involved. So look to us, and we'll be looking to you to help us develop those things over the following weeks and months. Just to give you a little bit of history, the Career Center started back in 1935. The whole idea of the Career Center started with the Social Security Act of 1935. And from that was born this idea that if you were unemployed through no fault of your own, the government would help you subsidize your income for a period of time until you got back on your feet. The problem with that model was, and I think you all remember, I mean, you're all fairly young in this room, but I think you all remember what that used to be called, right? It was called the unemployment office, right? So everyone, so there's still a lot of folks that think of us a little bit as the unemployment office. And that's the culture and shift that we always, I know, are trying to make in all our career centers. And now from a statewide perspective, we can help you more because as we unify a brand, it's a lot easier for me to help the Worcester region and to help all the other regions because now I can talk about MassHire versus just one particular career center. Because if I just talk about Jeff's region, then another region would get very upset.
No, that's okay.
So, and I know Jeff was going to say that, so that was a complete setup. But just to give you kind of a little bit of the scope of how many people we serve across the state, our Career Center system serves over 132,000 job seekers just last year in fiscal year 2018. Over 8,000 of those job seekers were disabled, more than 6,000 were veterans. And we've connected around 4,000 training, these folks are around 4,000 training opportunities, and again, have worked with about 13,000 employers. Here in the central region, our workforce system has engaged over 10,000 people in fiscal year 2018, and you've put a lot of emphasis on veteran employment, which is really beyond a lot of the other regions. So you've done a great job with that. You've been the Central Workforce Board has been very, very involved in a statewide regional planning effort that we undertook that has just finished the blueprint piece of it back in March, and those blueprints for this area you can find on the website, where we basically prioritize what were the biggest industries here in the central region that we really need to focus on. And we're really looking 5 years forward, because it's really important that we always look forward and not just backwards. We have to learn from our history, but we have to always look forward. So we did, there's a lot of work that was done here by this region with multiple stakeholders to really figure out what are the priority industries, what are the openings, and what are the skill sets that we need in order to match folks to those job openings. So that you can find right on the website, the blueprint for the central region. And we all know that the economy is very strong right now. The economy is strong, but it's not strong for everyone. And that is something that we always have to keep in mind. What I love about working in a strong economy versus a crisis economy is that you have the opportunity to be a little more creative, and you have the opportunity to bring in more of the chronically unemployed folks and the folks that have been underemployed, because those folks aren't being counted anymore in that 3.6 number. So we know we've got a lot of work to do to bring a lot of folks that are unemployed today, who are underemployed, back into the mainstream while the economy is good. Some of those foundational things have to be changed. That is a big part of our rebranding, is the increasing the awareness and making sure that people understand the power of what we have today. And aside from just the economics of it, if you just look at our industries, and we talk a lot about the future of work in our office, and we talk a lot about automation, and what is that going to do to jobs? And we already know that there are a lot of jobs that will be either going away or being completely restructured because of automation. We also know that there's going to be a lot more jobs. Who would have thought just a few years ago when the smartphone, right? Everybody in this room, I'm sure, has a smartphone. And we have a whole bunch of apps on that smartphone. There are companies behind all of those apps that didn't exist before. Look at Uber, look at Lyft. Those are services that would never have existed if the smartphone had not been invented. So with automation also comes opportunity. So we obviously need to look at that. But we also need to make sure that our career centers are teaching relevant skills, right? Calligraphy is probably no longer an essential skill. And that's something, I went to a Catholic school, Catholic grammar school, and I was taught how to do the long handwriting, and that, was painful because I wasn't a great writer. But today, that's not as an essential skill. So we have to make sure that our career centers are teaching the skills of today, because that's what the employers are demanding. So it's a real balancing act that we're always playing between what are the employer needs, what are our job seekers coming in with, and how can we make that match a better match to frankly, maintain our economy as robust as it is. Massachusetts has the advantage of having a wonderful economy. We're number one in so many different categories. We also know we're the smartest people in the country, right? We know all of these things. This is a given. But in order to maintain all of those great accolades, we have to make sure that our workforce is ready. And I'm not sure we talk about workforce enough. We need to talk about workforce a lot more, because really it is the greatest asset that we have in the Commonwealth. So in closing, I really want to thank all of you for coming together today, joining us for the celebration of launching our MassHire brand. I want to thank everyone in this room that has taken part in this and has worked so hard in making this a successful, not just event, because we all know it's not just about the name on the door. We all know that in order for this to be successful, we have to live the brand. We have to make sure that all of these things, all of these values and the mission and the vision and the promise that we're giving to our customers when they walk in the door, that we're living this every single day. Whether you have a bad day or you have a good day, you're consistently delivering promise. If we don't do that, then it was nice talking to you, but we won't be very successful. So those are and that's where the hard work begins. So this is just beginning of this wonderful launch, this wonderful brand. And I also want to thank Marina Chuknova. Please raise your hand. Marina is our assistant secretary from our office, and she has done an incredible job really moving not just the career centers, but all the workforce investment boards to really influence this whole process and make sure that they also agreed with us that this was a great idea, and this was an idea that would unify all of us and would raise the votes of every single region of the Commonwealth. So I want to thank Marina for all her hard work. We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you to all the local leaders here, our city managers here. Thank you so much for joining us on this important day. And again, look forward to working with all of you. And please spread the word. Be our advocates. Make sure you don't keep this a secret that you were here today. Tell everybody about MassHire. Take a water bottle. Make sure that people understand who we are and the resources that are available to you here. Thank you very much.
So, Madam Secretary, we have a little something for you.
Oh yes! Thank you. Another. I got one in Fall River last week. Different color. That was a white one. That was a white one.
So,
and this is my favorite.
there you go.
Okay, thank you.
So before I introduce our city manager, I just realized I never introduced myself, right? So I'll back up a little bit. So my name is Janice Ryder-Weeks. I'm director of MassHire, Worcester Career Center and Southbridge Career Center. And now, city manager Edward Augustus, is a native of Worcester who has spent more than 20 years in public service. He has been city manager of Worcester since 2014. He's a former Massachusetts state senator and was the youngest person elected to the Worcester City School Committee. He is the former chief of staff for Congressman James McGovern. Before becoming city manager, he most recently worked as director of government and community relations at the College of the Holy Cross. And I have a little story to tell. So not that long ago, we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam Memorial, and we all at Green Hill Park. And so after it was over, he was making his way to his car, and I saw him. He was by himself. So I'm like, okay, I can seize this moment. I can talk to him, right, just one-on-one. So I was running behind him, like, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Manager, Mr. City Manager. And so finally I said, Ed, and he turned right around. So, Mr. City Manager.
There's a lot of things I don't answer to that I called out. Thank you, Janice, for that introduction. Secretary Acosta, I want to welcome you back to Worcester. Happy to have you here today. I want to thank you and your office and the Baker Polito administration for the partnership that the City of Worcester enjoys with the administration on so many topics and levels. So this is just another example of that. You know, I think today really is about the Career Center here in Worcester and across Massachusetts doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is be customer focused. And I think that's what this whole rebranding effort is about, making it easy for customers. No matter whether you're in New Bedford and you move to Worcester, or you're in Pittsfield and you move to Fitchburg, to understand there's a place that you're familiar with, that you understand what it does, that can help you. And so it really is about being customer focused, and that's why you're successful. I want to thank Janice and Jeff and all of the team here in Worcester for the great work that you do. You know, there's a lot of talk not only about how good the economy is nationally and in Massachusetts, but here in Worcester. And we got a lot of great things going on here in the city of Worcester. But none of them are going to be possible unless we have a skill to allow companies to expand, to relocate, and as somebody who's responsible for city employees. So if you look at the city side and the school department side, we have about 6,000 City of Worcester employees. So I can tell you it's a big deal in DPW or the water department or the sewer department. If I don't have enough qualified employees to do the job, it impacts operational efficiencies for the city. And I think that's consistent across sectors all around the city of Worcester. So it is important from an employer standpoint for us to continue to grow and attract investment and businesses here to the city of Worcester. But probably even more important, it's important for the human beings, the individuals who come through that door. We've talked a lot about this renaissance, whatever you want to call what's going on in Worcester right now. It's not real unless every person in the city gets an opportunity to be part of it. So it's not real unless everybody gets to be part of it. And what you do here and at the other career centers around Massachusetts is make it real for people. Allow them to figure out how they can access a job. It gives them the dignity, gives them the income, and the ability to provide for themselves and their family. That's a very powerful thing.
This MassHire thing.
Sounds good.
This morning she got called away to her corporate office. As you probably know, local workforce boards are led by local employers, private employers, and so as well as our chairs. And so she had to get called away for corporate governance issues. Could be with us here, but we do have our two subcommittee chairs. So Joshua Freumsen from AbbVie is our chair. Joshua is our chair of the Career Center Adult Career Pathways Committee, and really doing a lot of work with his committee on some of the issues the secretary had mentioned, like automation and
James.
and Ms. Well, you know what, you're jumping, but that's good. Ms. Jennifer James from the Secretary's Office, who's really spearheaded a lot of the special initiatives that we've been part of, including. And I also see out in the crowd here, we've got a lot of board members, a lot of our WIOA partners here in our region. We've really taken it to heart that we need to come together and do our best to coordinate and integrate. Marina Zavrankova. I think I'm one of the few people that,
Anyone that can say that name.
we also got a lot of support ideas. We want to thank them as well. I think in some ways, though, the work, as hard as it's been up to now, new signage, changing, logos, all the work with name change and the legal aspect and all that, the documentation, all that in some ways is maybe the easy part, right? It's now it comes time to actually implementing a merger of 16 different board cultures, 30 different career center cultures, and really making sure that we do live up to these values. Now that we're fully integrated as a system, we need to make sure that we're really blending those cultures and meeting one brand and unified, and really doing our part to uphold the values that it represents. So I think at this point we are going to do the official ribbon cutting, and then.
Secretary and city manager will join us.
Now, we did ask to say, with all the given changes in Worcester, maybe all the recent events in Worcester, maybe we could change the tagline to "Let's play ball," but we'll keep it. Let's go to
We all wear baseball caps.
1, 2, 3, MassHire!
Thank you, everyone.
So, folks, we're going to be doing some tours, and everyone's welcome to kind of walk around.